You are in for a treat today because I'm sitting here with Daniel, and I can tell you my recent trip to Las Vegas to visit Jolt and Daniel to see their home was an eye-opener for me. This guy is one of the most creative people I know in the world, and his home is full of hacks and DIYs, and today this video is nothing but taking you through his house and showing you all the cool ideas. I promise you, you're gonna learn something. Is that right?
I hope so.
Yeah, so Daniel and Jolt will be here to walk you through, as well as myself. Let's get started. $39, maybe it was $59. It was Crate and Barrel, it was probably $79. But if it was Target, it would be $39. Daniel, tell us about this coffee table.
Do you want the whole story?
Yes, but make it quick.
This room is big and we could not find a coffee table big enough. We found one at a big box store, cheap, and we bought it.
How much is cheap? Can you share?
$200.
$200.
But our amazing glass guy, we had him cut a top for it, and now it actually looks like something that's a little more luxury for a fraction of the cost. Some of the ones we looked at were $1,000.
Right.
This was
right.
a couple hundred. Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite things to do is to buy some really, really good quality things and then do some hacks on less quality things. And when you mix them together, you wouldn't know which is the expensive one and which is the inexpensive just by adding a piece of glass to this. And he did this kind of thing throughout the house. And then what did you say this is?
That's a mirror.
It's just a mirror that goes on the wall. He laid it on its back and used it as a tray on top of this. I think that was brilliant too. Genius. Let's go over and take a look at the window treatments a little more closely, and I'll show you what Jolt did for us yesterday.
It was so easy. Just roll the paint on it.
Just roll it on with a little sponge roller, right? Yeah. That's how easy it is. It took 2 coats, I believe, right?
Yes.
And here's the deal. Let's take a look at the footage where you can see what it looked like before with this big, dark, black header across the top. Now, this is what the roller shade is housed in. We painted it white, and now it goes away, and it looks really great. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that I'm a stickler on the size of area rug that you have in your home. Most people do not have the proper size, and it's usually because they're too small. These guys found an extraordinarily large area rug. And I thought this would be a great hack to share with you because a lot of people are looking for larger rugs and they can't seem to find them. My guess is they're looking in the wrong place. Where did you get this rug?
Fortunately, Amazon.
So what is the size of this rug?
It's like 14, 15 by 20. It's huge. And we almost thought it was too big because it's like inches away from it.
Yeah.
But when you start putting the furniture in here.
And it's so neutral.
Yeah.
And I love this taupey color because we pull it in the curtains. So that being said, you got yourself a 16 by 20 area rug and it cost?
About $400.
As a professional designer, I have purchased so many hand-knotted rugs over the years, and they are an investment piece in your home, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
So we reached out to Audie in La Jolla, and he sent us this amazing purple rug, but it was huge. I've done this before, and so it came to me very easily. You know what, Daniel? Go ahead, it's the perfect color.
Beautiful.
Get the big one, and then let's cut the end off and make it into another rug that we could use in the entryway. So for the cost of one hand-knotted rug, you actually got
2.
Yes, and a perfect connection between the 2. That is a great hack. My recommendation when I was here was I thought a live edge table would look great in here.
Right, and we
long.
loved that idea, but after looking at prices.
I have really good taste.
Yes, and so do we. And we decided to go out and just look at a slab. We actually said, you know what? They're in great condition. We don't have to do a lot. We can make this table ourselves.
That's a great hack.
We actually sanded it down, stained and sealed it, and found actually the identical legs that they put on their tables. We found that company and bought them for a fraction of the cost.
That is pretty smart. So how would you like me to put a link in the description box below as to where you can find those kind of legs? Because that's actually a really good resource I'd like to know as well.
Yeah.
And I love how all the different shades of the stain in this table connect with this cedar and black painted wall here. It's absolutely yummy.
But
It's
also,
gorgeous.
this was the only slab that had the black epoxy in it.
So they fill in where it has like
Yes.
the, and that's a good thing, right? Because it creates a really
gave
beautiful
such
design.
dimension.
How do you keep your taper candles straight instead of them all going in different directions? Do you light the bottom of the wax and let it drip in there? Do you use like a sticky putty? What do you do? Well, I'll show you what I do, because this is the only thing that worked great for this entire centerpiece, and that is I take each candle. Around the bottom, I run a row of Gorilla two-sided tape all the way around till it comes to the end, and I just hold it down tight. Now here's the weird part about it. I don't take the outside off for it to be two-sided because it won't go down in the candle, it'll get stuck. But just by adding this around here, it gives it the thickness that makes it go in the candlestick just like this, and voila, perfectly straight candles all the way down. All right, let's look at the hack that Daniel did right here. What was this before?
It was butcher block top
Mm-hmm.
and white cabinets. We actually took the butcher block and put it in the laundry room.
Ah, now
and
there's
used
a hack.
that as our countertop in there.
We'll go
so-
take a look at that in a second. What is this?
This is actually Black Galaxy. Amazing.
Yeah, and then you added, these were not, well, you painted this
We
black.
painted it black.
Now, just by painting this a matte black,
Right.
it is beautiful. And with these are brass, but they almost look
They're-
copperish.
It's the most interesting color, and we just were drawn to it for
I
some
love
reason because
'em.
it's not that typical
And
brass.
it actually goes
Except
with
with the gold
yeah,
coppery flecks in it.
yeah, there's both gold and copper flecks in
Right.
Black Galaxy, and this is a nice piece too. So this gives them a great buffet surface, and it does look like it is a special piece for this dining room, which has the dark arms here,
Finish.
and it has the brass on these huli
Knobs.
whatsits. Thank
Yeah.
you. It takes two of us to get this right? That they just don't come to my mind that quickly.
I know.
And yeah, and I just think it looks absolutely amazing, and you can do it for a song or close to a song. All right. All right, guys, so we went shopping yesterday to get some different placemats to do this quick hack for over the windows. And we didn't know exactly what we wanted, so we bought a smattering of different styles. What we're gonna do right now is decide which look we like best. We've got a lot in this sort of wheat color look. We have a few things in white.
And the purpose of these is to what?
The purpose is to fake the eye to think the window is taller, because we don't like the fact that the window drops. So this has a height, that has a height, and then it drops down to those new doors you guys put in, which are obviously beautiful, but it's disconnected. And remember, it will stick out away from the window a bit because we're gonna use it on boards, and it will be shorter, like about there. Huh.
I like the black on it, but I don't know if I like the
Yeah, I think the
cream.
color's too strong.
It's just
Yeah.
fun.
So this is a runner.
Yeah, I like the
that look
cleanliness
good?
I like this
of that.
the most.
Yeah, because it does still give us a little of the black.
Yeah.
So we could do this, but this is the one that they didn't have placemats for. They only had these, so we'd have to do the
But
same thing. So let's
it
try it over
is-
there. Yeah, I think it's better without the black line.
Because then it blends in and
and
your eye...
you don't quite know that it didn't go to the ceiling.
Right.
Now, our center mark is there, right here, and we're gonna go 1/8 of an inch over, right about there. Now, I think if it was one big flat thing, it wouldn't look right, but we could do several. You're gonna wanna have, if you want a pleat in the center,
Oh, gotcha.
you're gonna wanna go like that, and like that, and we have to measure these. I'm gonna go from here to there. We got 10 from this pleat to the underside of this pleat, and then 2.5 for a pull pleat, okay? And 2.5. How's that for perfection? We look like a professional workroom. This is similar, my mom has cotton dish towels, which is what we used to use when we were ironing. So if you cover what you're ironing with a fabric and then iron it in, it preserves the fabric underneath. And if there's any spitting from the iron, it's less noticeable because it goes on the top piece, yeah. What do we use?
We used a table runner.
A table runner, 108 inches long.
108 inches.
We mathed ourselves to death.
Right.
And we came up with the pleat system, we ironed it. I mean,
Right.
I think we were pretty clever.
Right, and I think our lucky thing was that both windows were the same size.
Yes, so tell us how much this window treatment costs, Daniel.
I think it was like $59 or something.
No, I think the table runner was 39.
Oh, even better.
39, maybe it was 59. It was Crate and Barrel, it was probably 79. But if it was Target, it would be 39. Do what you will with that. Just find it wherever you can, and even at Home Goods. The idea is you can take a long table runner, pleat it, and get it even. It's all about measuring and getting it
Right.
very precise. But you can come up with something very clever. This one's shorter, this one's longer, it's higher,
And
but it's pretty
just
smart.
on a single board.
Yeah, a little 1 by.
Yep.
1 by 1,
Two.
1 by 2. You saw this on a trip to
Alaska.
Alaska,
Yeah.
and you came home and said, what?
I just want a bigger one.
I want a bigger island. And you picked out the same kind of granite that you used in the other
Over there,
room.
yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
First, I told him if you want a bigger cabinet, we need to make sure there's floor underneath this cabinet because we needed to move it over so it wasn't in the dining room. It was. There was floor underneath it, so we were able to move the whole cabinet over.
Okay, because you had
Making
a much
this-
larger
yes.
walkway here, which was unnecessary.
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
This is more realistic, more manageable.
Yeah.
But we still used, and we're able to use the white cabinets,
Okay,
just like we did in the dining room.
yeah.
So we painted them.
How many coats?
It was a few because it is black, so
Yeah.
probably 2, I think maybe 3
And
on.
is this a matte
It is a
flat
matte.
or it's not a satin?
Matte finish.
No.
Okay, no
Same-
shininess.
Same
No.
finish
Yeah,
as
I like
the dining room.
And same hardware.
Same hardware.
But what's the genius part of this?
So he wanted it larger. We did not want cabinets all the way on the other side, so we actually put one cabinet for support on the other side and the waterfall.
So there's a cabinet on this end and the rest is open for bar stools.
Yes.
Yes.
And then the edge waterfalls off, which gives it a tremendous
Support,
amount of
another
support.
support.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let me just, I hate to ask you guys prices, but people want to know. Hacks are for a reason, right? What can you do to make it look as good as what you see somewhere else, but at a fraction of the cost? Can you tell me what you think adding the cabinet, the hardware, and the stone top cost?
So Black Galaxy is kind of hard to get.
Really?
People
You
don't.
would think in Vegas, Black Galaxy
I know.
would be everywhere.
People don't have it on hand all the time.
Yeah.
We needed it yesterday.
Always.
So we actually found a place that had it, and this is thicker, but they had it on site for a while, so they gave it to it at a discount price.
This guy has little angel elves that are over his head all the time. Everything that they show me, we got it on discount, we got a rebate, we got it on sale. It's amazing. Okay, so what did it cost? Just tell me.
The
Guess.
granite was right at $3,000,
Okay.
and a couple $100 in hardware and paint.
And the granite included fabrication and
included the-
installation.
Fabrication, installation, and everything.
Yes.
So probably $3,500?
Maybe even under that.
Yeah, on the.
Under $3,500 for what looks like a brand new island in granite. And I can tell you, I've had islands built and they're $35,000, not $3,500.
Yeah.
So good job, guys. Bam, bam.
Thanks.
Okay. White switch plates and outlet covers on a richly painted wall drives me nuts. It's like a beacon for your eye. It just draws you to it. So do you go to Home Depot and get a colored switch plate? Well, what if you got a weird color on your wall? or sometimes you just want the same exact finish. Daniel has the best paint hack for switch covers in the world. Take it away, Daniel.
So utilize the same switch plate that actually works on that. Paint it. These are smart switches, so they do have some mechanism that is different. So we actually taped that part off carefully.
That's cool.
And painted the mask part, which is just your on and off button. That way now you've minimized your actual white and you've actually blended it with your wall.
Yeah, and then it goes away. A lot of you've probably thought of this before, and maybe you've even tried it, and it hasn't worked because you're afraid that your switch is going to get stuck or it's going to get scratched easily. How do you avoid sticking as it's drying, right? Because you've got it in the on position or the off position. What do you do?
So we took the plate off, so you're not painting it together, because then you're not getting excess paint in between those crevices, and you're actually painting them in two separate spots. So paint your switch separate from your plate.
Okay, that's a good tip. Thank you. While we're here, one more paint hack. I think this is brilliant. I've heard of this before, but I haven't done it myself, but I watched. The lines, the cut-in lines here, when you have highly contrast white walls and black walls, how did you get such a clean line?
So with such dramatic colors, you always get the bleeding underneath the tape.
Always, even with blue tape, green tape, yellow tape, red tape, any tape, it's a lot of red tape.
So what you do is you tape it off how you would normally.
Like along here, right?
You actually take the wall color that's existing underneath and you paint it over your tape.
Just a little
A
thin?
light coat so that any seeping is going to actually be the existing wall color when you pull that tape off. Then you go back, you let it dry, you go back and you actually paint your color that you want. When you pull that tape off, you've got a nice clean line.
Like I've never seen before. I wish I'd have known this a long time ago. Excellent. If you know me, you know that I hate exposed cords. Hate, hate, hate. I get pictures from you guys all the time where people are showing me their televisions, and what do they have? A cord showing down the wall all the way to plug in, or they have like a little channel or something, or they have a piece of furniture here with a cord showing. That cannot happen, and it's easy to rectify. Of course, I like it when you put a hole in the wall and you drop it down, but if you can't do that and you need to do something right away, we have a simple, easy hack for you. Costs you almost nothing. Actually, it costs you nothing except this. Jolt, what did you do?
Just use the existing wall color, paint, and just paint it white. So I painted white, and then in the den room I painted black.
We'll show you what that looks like too, because a whole black wall and a black everything, and then this one white cord coming down. I'm like, ah! So you painted it black.
Yeah.
And how much time did it take you?
2 minutes.
And what did it cost?
Nothing.
There is your free hack. Please take my advice on this. Please do this.
Another friendly little hack is we couldn't find a nightstand that was small enough for this room other than one from a big box store, but we wanted it just a little more substantial, so we added another piece of granite. So another hack was this door, which we originally ordered for our upstairs master, but it was too small. Once we got in here, in order to utilize a door that opened, we'd have to push the bed way over. Rebecca doesn't like that. So we actually thought about using it here. So that is a great hack. If you have something that you can't use, think about other spaces that it might actually work for.
This is a great hack for a very small bathroom. Now in this bathroom, we have a dropped ceiling. So it's not even 8 feet tall, it's 7 feet. What are you gonna do to make that bathroom look bigger? My best advice is to do floor to ceiling mirrors, wall to wall. Make sure that your mirror company cuts a hole in the center here so you can add a vanity light, and then color drench your walls. What does that mean? It means all of the walls and the ceiling are painted the same rich, deep color. Makes such a huge difference and makes the room look so much larger. So
here's another hack, is this butcher block which is now our folding table, was from the dining room banquet area. Fit perfect and saved hundreds of dollars on just reusing what you have that you are taking from another area. Also, we reused the old bar cabinet into now becoming all the guest room towels. Rethink your items and move them around and you'll save a lot of money.
Here's a designer hack for you. If you've ever bought a piece of furniture at a store and you wanted to then take a swatch of the fabric and go around and try to find matching or coordinating fabrics that match the color exactly, it's a long search. Did you know that if you want to do things like add pillows that match the headboard to go on the chair, and then maybe buy some extra fabric to have it go on the window treatments, do you know it's as simple as asking the salesperson, to order you additional yards of fabric from the exact same furniture store so that you can get it just right, and it saves you a lot of time. I have a super valuable design tip for you. When you're putting lighting in your home, pay attention to the light bulbs that come with the fixtures, or if you're selecting light bulbs, pay attention to the temperature. In other words, does it go super yellow? Do you want it to be that amber looking? Or does it go almost blue? It's so bright. They call it natural daylight, but it's not. It's really, I call it blue-white. Anyway, this fixture, I love this thing. When I came here, when I arrived, I walked into the room. This fixture had different bulbs in it. It had these. I'm going to have Daniel take one of these out and show you what it looked like. It turned this whole room, instead of looking like a smoky, muddy color for the paint, it looked more to me like this, kind of almost coppery apricot looking. And to me, it messed with the color vibe. So just by changing out the bulbs to be incandescent 15-watt bulbs, we got the color tonation back to where it should be. Always keep in mind the bulbs you use, and just an important point, pick one color and stick with it in a room. I cannot stand to be in a room that 2 of the canned lights are lighter, brighter, and then 2 of these are yellower. That doesn't work. They all need to be consistent. We counted 3 hacks that you did in your primary bathroom.
Correct.
Those are what?
So we kept the same vanity, but to spruce it up, change all your fixtures.
Yeah.
And they're different colored actually now. So utilize bringing in that brass in from the other room, changing the stopper with it.
A lot of people don't think to do that. But what he's saying is that this is exactly the same vanity they had before, but it looks so much better just by changing out the fixtures and doing the hardware.
New knobs, yes. Yeah. Also, as you suggested, was a wall-to-wall mirror, but don't be afraid to ask your people to actually put holes in that mirror for where your existing light fixtures are.
A lot of people don't know to do that. So you'll see bathrooms that may have a mirror that goes from wall to wall and from the top of the backsplash, but then they stop it short because they think, well, a light's gonna go up there. You don't realize you can actually have a hole cut in it.
Correct.
And they can do it. The hack with the mirror means this is how you make your bathroom look larger. There was a time when we all put in framed mirrors above each one of our sinks, and that was a decorative thing, and that was a trend at the time. I'm trying to get people to go to, hey, maximize your space. So this hack of using mirror, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, or backsplash to ceiling is a great one. How many of you have countertops in your bathrooms that are so cluttered and so full of things? Well, Daniel has quite the selection of cologne. Yeah, like 40 bottles of cologne.
Right.
So what did you do?
If you see before this wall-to-wall mirror, remember I had that shelf in here that was mounted to the wall, but it was more of the wrought iron and whatnot. I still liked it
The concept.
being visual.
Yeah.
But by
so
adding
see-through.
the acrylic
Yeah.
shelves, it's now see-through, so those shelves go away and you really see the
And this
actual...
cable is so minimalist, and then it's just literally mounted to the ceiling. I think
Right.
that's brilliant. All right, I can't wait for you to show us the hacks in your closet.
This closet has a few hacks. Let's actually take a look of it, what it looked like before. So you can see it's gone over a big transformation. We put in a whole new wardrobe system, which utilized all of the space and maximized for everything. We put in some great pull-out drawers for every accessory, one for actually folding when we're up here and we need to put our clothes away. We also had this corner that we could not put a system on or any shelves or anything, so we actually utilized it for a full-length mirror, wrapping it completely around it and taking it, as Rebecca would suggest, all the way to the floor. We also painted and added a new light fixture, feeling like we maximized the whole space of this small closet. If you've actually watched our reveal video, you've noticed this wood is a consistent theme throughout our house. So in order to keep that theme, we had an existing sconce at the top. We added 2 more electrical boxes, but I kind of made my own wall sconce by just taking the same simple boards, adding a little spacer to keep it off the wall, but then running a complete rope light around it and hardwiring it in. Now we have 3 amazing sconces up this stairway that keep within the flow of our house. Each sconce probably cost us about $15 to $20.
Are you loving this hack video? Because we are. I mean, as I walked through Daniel's home, I was just amazed at how many things he did that I would consider hacks. I considered this a hack. He said, that's not a hack. And as we thought about it, we actually realized it is, because what this is in this room, this is the den, which is also the dog's room.
Yep.
He utilized dead space. So tell us what you did, Daniel.
So this is the stairwell, obviously, and behind it was a closet.
Was it utilized?
No.
It's called dead space.
We actually embedded the fish tank within it, allowing us to still have access to it because it's a closet.
And this is an action piece, but I think the cleverest part is when you put this in, you know, there are stairs here, okay? So you're limited on how far this direction you can go, which meant by the time you had it done, it stopped. There was only a little bit of drywall left. So you had a great idea to...
Right, because we still had the support for the stairs, we actually extended it,
The drywall.
the drywall, and created a false wall. So now that did 2 things. We eliminated seeing the door, and we centered the fish tank, giving it more balance to the room.
Yeah.
So as you can see over here, we did add this, it's probably about 1 foot of extended wall, which now also hides the door to the fish tank room. So in here you can see all the fish equipment, the lighting, any extra that we need, it's all hidden and behind the door. Speaking of dead space, another one is, let's take a look at this before. As you can see, that was the TV wall. Now we actually have art on there, and we've changed where we actually view our media. It now drops down from the ceiling. Utilizing all of that space and actually getting a great design aspect and multi-purpose.
Very functional, but still you get everything it is that you need without taking up any floor space.
Right.
Yeah, great hack. Lest you think that all of the home hacks are done on the interior of the house, au contraire, we've got some outdoor home hacks as well. So I'm going to have Daniel go through those with you right now.
You're actually sitting on one of our favorite hacks.
Okay.
This piece of wood came from that door entryway. So when they put in this new door, they had to cut out the old header, and with these older homes, it was a solid piece of wood.
I mean, how many times do people do that? And
Right.
before you know it, off in the trash goes a nice usable piece of wood that's like a plank. And this is solid, right?
This is solid, and there were several people that wanted it, and we said, unfortunately, we're keeping it. We thought of maybe a bench at at the outside table, but we actually found these legs on Amazon, sanded it down, put a clear coat on it, and we thought it was great here because you still have the view when you come out that door.
Yeah, because there's no back to it.
Right.
You see right over it to this U-shaped sofa sectional
Right.
area and the fire,
The fire
pit.
pit.
Yeah.
And so this wood warmed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it continues with the wood on our deck.
So we're gonna go over and take a look at that wood now, because I actually love the natural elements. As you sit here, he has repeated a matter throughout his yard. We're gonna show this to you now.
So the deck was just, we knew we wanted some warmth there because it was feeling very cold.
Right, because of the black wall.
Right,
And it was
the
sort
black
of just
wall
dirt.
and whatnot. So we actually just got lumber, cheap lumber.
Is this the fence post lumber?
No,
This is just
these
regular.
are just 2x6s, I believe.
Okay.
And made a deck that kind of filled in that space.
One of the things I liked is last night I saw it for the first time at night, and he actually lit underneath of the deck. So where there's a little bit of spacing through there,
Right.
it's not just backlit, it's underlit. It looks amazing. And then what do you have? Explain to us how you made these.
So these are simple 1x2s. They're what, $1 something a board, and we just spaced them out evenly. And
Right.
so all lattice work is usually really thin and narrow, and we wanted something a little bit more airy and spacey. So
And substantial,
Yeah.
right? And then you put like a spacer so that it doesn't lean directly against the wall.
Right.
There's some depth in between, and then planted vines in front of it. What would you estimate that each of these lattices cost you to make?
let 1, 2, 3, 4. So maybe like 12 to 15.
He's doing math here. $12 to $15?
Yeah.
$12 to $15 to do something like this. Now, if you'd have bought this, it'd have been way more expensive, and it
Yes.
wouldn't have looked anywhere near as good.
And it would have been half the size.
And you didn't finish the wood. So
No.
it's super easy, super fast, but it gives you that organic feel. I love
Right.
that. This was a last minute idea of yours to create some sort of a wind barrier, right?
Right.
So tell us what this is, and not only that, but what's sitting on top of it. Both of these things are things that Daniel made that he could have spent a lot of money for, but he did it himself and got it at a fraction of the price. Yeah.
So we knew we wanted some type of a wind barrier in this area, but it also kind of makes it more intimate. So we actually built this divider from the other side, and it's really just 2 4x4s, and we bolted it to the cement, and we again nail gunned. These are actually cedar fence boards. They're already thin, cheap. We spaced it out so air can still flow through here, so we didn't have to be super strong because
Right.
it can still come through here. And then we added this moss art piece.
Tell us about the art piece. He made that, you guys. I know, right? It's like almost like a living wall kind of feel, but it's moss.
Yeah, so Joel sent me a picture. He was at some office and they had a kind of the same concept, but it was a whole wall. And they said, what if we did something like that as our divider? And
Love that.
we came up with a few other ideas, but so we actually just made it an art piece. And
So you made the
it's-
frame.
Yeah, we made the frame and the board that it's on basically a 2x4 $10 board from Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. The frame, painted it all black, and then we glued all this moss onto it, creating our own
Isn't
art
that
piece.
creative? By the way, I think this is also great for shading you from
Right.
the sun. You know,
Exactly.
because I can feel the sun coming in on my back, and I'm sure this creates kind of a nice little shady
Exactly.
area as well. But by bringing this green here, I think it just softened this area, and it literally is outdoor art. You could make this for the interior as well.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what you think this costs to make. Moss is not cheap.
No, that was probably, that was the most expensive part. The wall, I think I spent $80 on.
A wall for $80. And guess on this.
On the moss piece, it was probably about $100 because we bought some really cool moss.
So for less than $200, you too can have something amazing like this in your home. Take some of your time, but wow, what a great
Right.
hack. And then we want you to stay tuned because we have one last hack. That's an exterior hack, but it's on the front yard. And when Daniel told me when I saw it and I pulled up, I saw it first thing and I thought, that looks so good. I had no idea he made this thing. And then when he told me how he made it, blew my mind.
It's probably the coolest hack and probably the cheapest hack. The orb part is the cheapest part, obviously. And that was just
How so?
Because it's really just a
Tell me
bag
how
of
you made
concrete.
it. Okay, a bag of concrete,
I use
water.
Water.
Yeah.
Everybody should have that. And the drywall tape that's the mesh fiberglass
Okay.
and a yoga ball.
That's the part that I couldn't believe. He made that orb out of an inflated yoga ball. One of those big ones, you know, that you sit on.
But here's the thing.
If your husband has one at his desk, just use that. They don't look so good in the office anyway. Make a great little fountain outside. Go ahead.
So with that though, you want to inflate it almost so that it's stiff and almost to its fullest capability. It's going to
Okay.
get pretty big.
Okay.
And then you just dip that strips is how I did it. And I literally like paper mache. So I did a couple layers
Okay.
of the
And
mesh.
how long does it take to do that?
You want it to dry for a day or so in between it.
Okay.
And then
But how long did it take you to do those strips?
maybe an hour each layer.
Okay.
So the longest part is just drying in between and waiting.
And you do 2 layers or 3 layers?
I did 2 layers of the mesh and then I put a thin layer of actual cement on the outside of it.
Now the ball has not been deflated.
No.
You keep it inflated.
Yes.
Inflated. And yours has a texture on it, doesn't
Right,
it?
because I used the concrete that has the sand in it, so
Okay.
we wanted that texture just so that the water has movement in it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we put the pump in, and then we covered it with some rebar and then chicken wire and mesh, and then put the rocks and the orb on top of it.
Did you have to drill a hole anywhere? I mean,
We
how does the
did.
water come out?
So I didn't go all the way to the bottom of the orb,
Oh,
and I
good to
removed
know.
the yoga ball.
So what did you have to pop it?
No, I just deflated it and
So now
pulled it
it's
out.
reusable.
Yeah.
It's a reusable yoga ball. Good to know.
And then we drilled a hole in the top.
For
put
the
in
water to
some
come out?
Yeah.
And then you got a pump, and then you got a tube.
I got PVC and an end cap on that so that the water, by the time it hits the top, it just trickles out.
That is amazing. Now, it's not you have to fill it with water periodically, right?
Periodically.
Yeah.
And
It's not an autofill thing.
No.
Yeah. That would be taking it to the next level. But
Right.
for how much do you think you spent on that?
I mean, with the pump, if you were to buy a new one, we had it because of the pond, but with everything, probably like $50.
Can you imagine? That's what I call a contemplative fountain.
Right.
You guys, thank you so much for sharing your home with us in the first video that we saw. If you haven't seen the reveal of their home, it's quite spectacular. You should go see it. It's amazing what they did, but especially the hacks, because that I think is really relatable to people, and it's such a great way to stretch your budget and to achieve the things that you want. It takes some time, but honestly, when you do projects like this, it's fun. You know, it's work,
Right.
but you have a tremendous amount of pleasure knowing that this is something that you created yourself. So thank you so much, Jolt.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
All right. I look forward to seeing you guys in our next video coming up on Saturday at 3 p.m. Central. Thanks for joining us. Love you guys. And don't forget to leave a comment, subscribe, and join the design sessions. Good Lord, join the design sessions. Well, you know how I feel about that. All right. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
The pussy bellows.
Pussy bellows.
Don't sit on
Okay.
the pussy
But you
bellows.
can